I want to ask you a simple question. What if one small habit before bed could help your heart, support your circulation, improve digestion, improve how you feel when you wake up in the morning, and maybe even help your body age a little more gracefully? And what if that habit wasn't expensive, complicated, or difficult to follow? What if it was already sitting in your kitchen right now? Today, we're talking about drinking olive oil before bed for 30 days, and the results may shock seniors. My name is Dr. David Chen, and after years of working with older adults, people with diabetes, pre-diabetes, circulation problems, and age-related health concerns, I've noticed something very interesting. Some of the biggest improvements people experience don't always come from dramatic changes. They often come from simple daily habits that seem almost too small to matter. Yet when those habits are repeated day after day, week after week, they can create changes that surprise even the people experiencing them. Before we begin, if you're interested in healthy aging, better circulation, diabetes support, and simple science-backed ways to help your body feel its best, make sure you subscribe and join our community. Now, when most people hear the phrase, drink olive oil before bed, they usually react the same way. They look confused. Some laugh. Others immediately assume it's another internet trend. I understand that reaction. In fact, many of my patients had exactly the same response when they first heard about it. One patient looked at me and said, "Doctor, I've been told to eat vegetables, walk more, and drink water. Nobody ever told me to drink olive oil before going to sleep." And honestly, that's a fair point, because olive oil isn't usually discussed this way. Most people think of it as something they drizzle on salads or use while cooking. They don't think of it as part of a bedtime routine. But here's what caught my attention. Over the years, I noticed that some of my healthiest older patients shared one thing in common. They regularly consumed extra virgin olive oil as part of their daily routine. Some used it with meals, some added it to vegetables, and a few had developed the habit of taking a small amount in the evening. The more I looked into it, the more interesting the pattern became. And that's when I met Margaret. Margaret was 72 years old. She had type 2 diabetes. Her blood sugar wasn't terrible, but it wasn't ideal either. She struggled with occasional constipation. Her feet often felt cold, especially at night. She complained about low energy, morning stiffness, and that frustrating feeling many seniors describe when they say, "I just don't feel like myself anymore." One day she sat in my office and said something I've heard hundreds of times. "Doctor, I don't feel sick enough to be in the hospital, but I don't feel healthy either." That sentence stayed with me, because many people watching this right now may understand exactly what she meant. You're not necessarily dealing with one major problem. Instead, you're dealing with a collection of smaller issues. Your energy isn't what it used to be. Your circulation doesn't feel as strong. Your digestion isn't as reliable. Your joints feel stiff. Your sleep isn't as refreshing. And while each problem may seem small on its own, together they can make daily life feel much harder than it should. Many people assume that's simply aging. But here's something I've learned after years of medical practice. Aging certainly changes the body. However, not every uncomfortable symptom is caused by aging alone. Sometimes there are underlying factors quietly influencing how we feel. Inflammation, poor dietary habits, reduced physical activity, blood sugar problems, circulation challenges, nutrient deficiencies, poor sleep quality. These factors often work together behind the scenes, and when several of them improve even slightly, people sometimes experience benefits they never expected. Now, before we go any further, I want to make something very clear. Olive oil is not a miracle cure. It is not a medication. It is not a replacement for medical treatment, and it is certainly not going to reverse decades of unhealthy habits overnight. Anyone who promises that is not being honest with you. What olive oil may do, however, is support several important systems inside the body at the same time. And that matters, because the body is connected in ways many people never realize. Think about a city. Your heart is like the central pumping station. Your blood vessels are the roads and highways. Your digestive system is the supply chain. Your cells are businesses trying to function efficiently. If traffic becomes congested, deliveries slow down. If roads become damaged, transportation becomes less reliable. If supplies don't arrive on time, businesses struggle. The same thing happens inside the human body. When circulation becomes less efficient, tissues receive less oxygen. When digestion slows down, nutrients may not move as effectively. When inflammation increases, multiple systems can feel the impact. The body is constantly trying to maintain balance, and that's why even small supportive habits can sometimes create noticeable improvements. Now, here's where things become fascinating. Most people think sleep is simply a period of rest, but your body is actually incredibly busy while you're sleeping. Throughout the night, your body repairs tissues, balances hormones, processes nutrients, regulates inflammation, supports immune function, and performs countless maintenance tasks that keep you functioning. In many ways, sleep is the body's overnight repair shift, and what you provide your body before sleep can influence that process. This is one reason researchers have become increasingly interested in dietary patterns that support healthy aging. Extra virgin olive oil contains healthy fats known as monounsaturated fats. In simple language, these are fats that tend to support heart health rather than work against it. It also contains plant compounds called polyphenols. Now that sounds technical, but here's the easy explanation. Polyphenols are natural protective compounds found in plants. Think of them as tiny helpers that assist the body in managing stress and inflammation. And inflammation is something I pay very close attention to in older adults. Because many common age-related problems share one thing in common. Inflammation often plays a role. Heart disease, diabetes, circulation issues, joint discomfort, even certain cognitive concerns. Inflammation frequently appears somewhere in the background. Now, I'm not suggesting olive oil eliminates inflammation. That's not how the body works. But supporting the body's natural defenses may be one reason olive oil continues to attract scientific interest year after year. Margaret decided to try a small amount of extra virgin olive oil as part of her evening routine. She didn't stop her medications. She didn't abandon medical advice. She didn't expect miracles. She simply became curious. The first week passed. Nothing happened. The second week passed. Still nothing dramatic. And this is important because many people quit healthy habits far too early. We're living in a world that expects instant results. But the human body doesn't operate that way. The body often changes slowly, quietly, gradually. Then something interesting happened. Margaret called my office, not because she had a concern, because she had a question. She said, "Doctor, is it possible this is helping my digestion?" I asked her why. She explained that she was waking up feeling lighter, less bloated, more comfortable. Her bowel movements seemed more regular. Her stomach felt calmer. Now, was olive oil the only factor? I can't say with certainty, but I can tell you that digestive improvements are among the most common observations I've heard from patients who consistently include olive oil in a healthy diet. As we age, digestion often slows down. Food moves through the digestive tract less efficiently. Constipation becomes more common. Bloating becomes more common. General digestive discomfort becomes more common. Many seniors simply accept these problems as normal, but they shouldn't ignore them because digestive health influences much more than comfort. It influences nutrient absorption, energy levels, immune function, even mood. And here's something many people never realize. A healthy digestive system often creates a ripple effect throughout the body. When digestion improves, other systems may benefit too. But digestion wasn't the biggest surprise. A few weeks later, Margaret returned for a follow-up appointment. As we talked, she casually mentioned something that immediately caught my attention. "My feet don't feel quite as cold anymore." Now that's a very interesting statement, because circulation concerns are incredibly common among older adults, especially people with diabetes. Over time, blood vessels naturally become less flexible. Think about a garden hose. When it's new, water flows smoothly. As it ages, the material becomes stiffer. Flexibility decreases. The same general principle can apply to blood vessels. Healthy circulation allows oxygen and nutrients to reach tissues efficiently. When circulation isn't ideal, people may notice cold hands, cold feet, slower healing, fatigue, or discomfort. Many seniors experience these issues without realizing how much circulation affects daily life. I often tell patients that circulation is like a delivery service. Every cell in your body depends on deliveries arriving on time. Those deliveries include oxygen, nutrients, hormones, and immune cells. When deliveries become less efficient, tissues may not function at their best. That's why circulation matters so much. And this is where many people become interested in olive oil. The healthy fats and protective compounds found in extra virgin olive oil may help support cardiovascular health when included as part of a healthy dietary pattern. Again, support is the key word, not cure, not miracle, support. And support matters more than people think. Then I noticed something else. Several patients who developed this habit weren't only talking about digestion and circulation. They were talking about how they felt overall. Their energy seemed steadier. Their mornings seemed easier. Their bodies felt less sluggish. One of those patients was Robert. Robert was 68 years old and retired after spending decades working as a mechanic. He wasn't looking for a miracle. He wasn't chasing some anti-aging fantasy. He simply wanted to feel better. He told me he felt like his body was running at half speed. His energy disappeared early in the day. His legs felt heavy. His motivation had declined, and perhaps most importantly, he had started believing that feeling bad was simply part of getting older. That belief worried me, because when people assume decline is unavoidable, they often stop trying to improve, and that's when things can get worse. Robert began making several healthy changes. He walked more. He improved his eating habits. He worked on his sleep routine. And he started incorporating extra virgin olive oil into his diet, including a small amount in the evening. A month later, he came back smiling. Not because his life had completely changed, because he felt more like himself. I'll never forget his exact words. "Doctor, I don't feel younger. I feel normal again." That statement says everything. Most seniors aren't trying to become 25. They simply want to maintain their independence, energy, mobility, and quality of life. They want to continue doing the things they love, playing with grandchildren, traveling, gardening, walking comfortably, living without feeling exhausted all the time. Those goals matter, and sometimes small habits contribute more than people expect. Now here's where the conversation becomes especially important for people with diabetes and prediabetes. Many people think blood sugar management is only about avoiding sugar, but healthy fats play an important role as well. The body responds differently depending on the types of foods consumed. Think of glucose as fuel. Your cells need fuel. But how quickly that fuel arrives can make a difference. Certain foods create rapid spikes and crashes. Other foods support a more gradual process. Healthy fats can be part of that balance. Again, olive oil is not a diabetes treatment. Please don't misunderstand me. It is not a substitute for medication. It is not a replacement for professional medical care. But healthy eating patterns that include olive oil have been associated with positive metabolic outcomes for many years. That's one reason dietary patterns like the Mediterranean diet continue receiving so much attention. But there was another benefit I kept hearing about, and honestly, it surprised me. Joint comfort. Not perfect joints, not pain-free joints, just less stiffness, more comfortable movement, easier mornings, a little less discomfort when standing up after sitting. And if you've ever dealt with stiff joints, you know how meaningful even a small improvement can feel. Imagine trying to open a rusty door. The door still works, but it doesn't move smoothly. Now imagine reducing some of that friction. That's how many people describe the difference. Not dramatic, not magical, simply smoother. And smoother movement often leads to more physical activity. More physical activity supports circulation. Better circulation supports energy. Better energy encourages healthier habits. Once again, everything is connected. This is one of the biggest lessons I've learned throughout my medical career. The body does not operate as separate systems. Everything influences everything else. Heart health influences circulation. Circulation influences energy. Energy influences movement. Movement influences blood sugar. Blood sugar influences inflammation. Inflammation influences countless aspects of health. It's one interconnected network, which means small improvements can sometimes spread further than expected. Now, here's something most people never consider. The greatest benefit of healthy habits isn't always feeling dramatically better. Sometimes it's having fewer bad days, and that may actually be more valuable. Several patients told me they felt more consistent. Their energy wasn't perfect, but it was steadier. Their mornings weren't amazing, but they were easier. Their bodies felt more predictable. As a physician, I love hearing that, because health is built through consistency, not perfection. You don't need a perfect day. You need enough good days that your quality of life improves over time. And consistency creates momentum. One healthy habit encourages another. One positive change makes the next change easier. That's how meaningful transformations happen, not through dramatic overnight breakthroughs, through small actions repeated consistently. Now, if you're wondering how much olive oil people typically consume, moderation is extremely important. More is not always better. I've seen people assume that if a little is good, a lot must be better. Unfortunately, health rarely works that way. The body usually responds best to balance. Quality matters too. Extra virgin olive oil is generally considered the best choice because it retains more of its natural compounds and undergoes less processing. Think about the difference between a fresh apple and a highly processed snack made from apples. The closer something remains to its natural state, the more beneficial compounds it often contains. But before you rush into making changes, I want to discuss something extremely important. Not every person should automatically add olive oil to their bedtime routine. Your health situation matters. Your medications matter. Your medical history matters. If you have kidney disease, liver disease, gallbladder problems, digestive disorders, pancreatitis, or any condition requiring special dietary management, you need to speak with your healthcare provider first. The same applies if you're taking medications that may be affected by dietary changes. Good health advice is never one size fits all. The safest approach is always individualized guidance from your doctor. I remember another patient named Linda. Linda was 75 years old. When we first met, she had already convinced herself that healthy changes were pointless. She believed she was too old to benefit. She thought improvement belonged to younger people. That mindset had become one of her biggest obstacles. Over time, she slowly changed her perspective. She started walking regularly. She improved her sleep. She focused on hydration. She made healthier food choices. And yes, she incorporated more healthy fats into her diet. Months later, she told me something I'll never forget. I wish I had stopped underestimating my body. What a powerful statement. Because many seniors underestimate what their bodies are still capable of. Can aging be stopped? No. Can every disease be prevented? No. Can every symptom disappear? Of course not. But can the body respond positively when we provide better support? Absolutely. I've seen it happen too many times to ignore. That's why I encourage people to focus on possibilities instead of limitations, not unrealistic expectations. Possibilities. Because healthy aging isn't about becoming younger. It's about preserving function, independence, mobility, energy, and quality of life for as long as possible. And every healthy habit contributes to that goal. If you've been feeling frustrated by low energy, poor circulation, digestive issues, blood sugar concerns, or simply the feeling that your body isn't functioning the way it once did, remember this: small changes matter. Small habits matter. Small improvements matter. Most people dramatically overestimate what they can achieve in 1 week and underestimate what they can achieve in 1 year. Health is often a long game. The benefits accumulate quietly. Then one day you realize you're feeling better, moving better, sleeping better, living better. Before we finish, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever tried adding olive oil to your evening routine, or is this something you're considering discussing with your doctor? Let me know in the comments because your experience may help someone else in our community. And if you know someone dealing with diabetes, circulation concerns, digestive issues, or healthy aging challenges, share this video with them. Sometimes one simple piece of information can inspire a meaningful change. If you're enjoying these practical, doctor-guided conversations about healthy aging, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos. And finally, please remember this important disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only. It is not medical advice. Do not stop medications. Do not replace prescribed treatments. Do not make major dietary changes without consulting your healthcare provider. This is especially important if you have diabetes, kidney disease, liver disease, gallbladder disease, digestive disorders, or take medications that require special dietary monitoring. Always work with your healthcare team when making decisions about your health. I'll leave you with one final thought. 30 days after starting her new routine, Margaret returned for another appointment. She sat down, smiled, and said, "Doctor, I finally feel like I'm helping my body instead of fighting it." That sentence has stayed with me ever since. Because health isn't about chasing perfection. It's about partnership, working with your body, supporting it, giving it what it needs, being patient enough to let positive habits do their work. So here's my challenge for you. For the next 30 days, choose one healthy habit. Not 10 habits, not 20, just one. Commit to it. Stay consistent. Track how you feel. Pay attention to your energy, your sleep, your digestion, your movement, and your overall well-being. Because sometimes the smallest habits create the biggest surprises. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Let me know in the comments what healthy habit you're committing to over the next 30 days. Share this video with someone who might benefit from hearing this message. Subscribe for more healthy aging insights. I'm Dr. David Chen. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.